Hey guys, this is Andreas with Nothing But Tablets. I've noticed that since Taposé was released, a lot of people have issues getting it to work properly, or rather to learn the interface. It's not the most iPad-like of interfaces, and that's both an issue with the app, and it's also what makes the app unique. So it's basically just something you have to learn. Someone requested a more in-depth tutorial video on Taposé's site, and since I'm sitting here with a website to publish on, an iPad that can record a screen, and to know how to actually use Taposé, I thought I should take the responsibility of doing that. So let's go into Taposé. This is the main screen. I deleted both the tutorial and my test notebooks, but this is sort of the where you'll keep all your journals, which are the notebooks you'll be working with in Taposé. Right here on the top you have the ability to add more journals and edit the existing ones. Right here on the side you have the slider, which is going to control how Taposé displays the two panes. Taposé works by having two windows side by side, like this, and both these windows work independently of one another, and at the same time they can work together. And you can resize it so that you see the entire left pane or the entire right pane. Having this load up something with a animation is not the best idea, so let me just put it there to minimize lag. You can bring up journals in the right pane and the left pane at the same time, or whatever you want. You control what's displayed in these two panes by grabbing this little button and dragging it up, and then you have the choice to choose from journals, browser, maps, contacts, and calculator, and clicking these will bring up the option to choose which pane or panel you open it in. So I'm just going to call it panel since that's what they call it here. So you can have a journal in the left pane, a journal in the right pane, sort of like that. So I'm just going to move this back for now. And right here, this button, oh, I forgot to mention one thing. If you just click this button, it's actually going to bring you back to this view of your journals. Since I am on the screen right now, it doesn't do anything. This button up here brings up the control panel. That's sort of your toolbox to work with. I'm going to go more in depth with what these icons do later on, but first let's create a journal. I'm going to click the plus button, and then you get this default notebook. And there are actually a lot more features right here than you might think. If you take a look at the side here, you have sort of the edges of different paper types, and this controls which paper type is the default for your notebook. So if I select just simple plain white ruled paper, that's going to be default for the entire notebook. And I can also change the name right there, and then if I simply click on the sort of the cover, it brings up a menu. You basically have three features here. You have the ability to choose between these default covers. Add image will let you import an image from. This can take a while. It's a bit slow, I noticed earlier, but you can import an image from your photo library and use that as the cover. Hit save here on the top right. just going to go back into edit mode. Whoops, I misclicked. So I just held down on the icon right now to enter edit mode. That's the same as clicking this button up here in the top right. I selected it and then I clicked the little note looking thing to go into edit mode. So I have one feature left to explain. I'm not even sure if that's possible to do. Maybe if I do like this. There we go. So you basically have to click the actual background cover to get this menu. And the last option, which I wanted to, that's what I've been trying to get back to, it's called custom. And at the first glance that doesn't actually seem to do anything, but what it actually does is enter edit mode, where you can create the cover with the exact same features as what you have for your main journal. So suddenly all these tools over here to the left become possible to use. So you can even use the marker, or you can use, well, as I said, I'm going to explain these later, but just remember once I've explained them that those suddenly work for creating the cover if you use the custom feature. I'm just going to click done there and save, so we have a very custom, if not anything else, cover right there. So those are the main features of actually creating the cover. Those are a bit hidden at the first glance. You might think that all you can do is actually rename it, but you can both select the background for the notebook, add your own pictures and the entire edit mode, and also select the default paper type. So then what I did now was simply clicked it to open the notebook, and then you get this notebook that has basically 2 pages, and this is what you're going to be working with most of the time. This is your notebook. So you have 2 different ways of moving, actually 3 different ways of moving between pages. You can grab the corner of the page and slide, which seem to work like 50% of the time for what I've experienced. My intuition tells me to grab this and actually pull sort of down like this, but that doesn't work. You have to pull horizontally or it won't do anything at all. So that's one of the ways to flip between pages. The other one is by using 2 fingers like this. That works the same way. You can see the page counter up here, and you can see that there are 2 page counters because this actually shows 2 pages at once. The third option, if I click either of these page counters, I get this menu. Here you have the undo feature, which will undo the last action you did. You can search. I don't have actually anything to search for since this is blank. The index, which brings up this thumbnail view of all your pages. You can share pages instead of sharing entire notebooks. And then finally options include paper type, and unlike the one where you had the corners of the page when I created the cover of the notebook, this one actually is on a per page basis. So instead of changing the default paper type, you can actually change that for each of your page. So yeah, index was the third option to change pages. The other ones being simply dragging on the corners and using 2 fingers. So the reason why it shows 2 pages at a time is because if you start moving this slider over, then you simply get 1 page. And it can be a bit confusing because of the animations with this, because if you now use two fingers, it's almost like it's sort of flip. This animation almost looks like it's going back, but what actually happens is that it moves from this is the left page of one double page, page number 5. Now it moves to number 6, and now it sort of flips over to number 7. And this confused me a bit at first as well, because the animation actually sort of looks like you're going back to from 9 to 10 to 9 again instead of to 11. So that's just something to be aware of. But as I was saying, the reason why they chose to use this dual page layout is that when you then grab the slider and pull it over, you actually end up with one page instead of half a page. And I'm recording this entire video in landscape mode, but if you use it in portrait mode, actually I can do that, it won't affect the video except being on the side. Then the default mode will be to display only one page, and then you don't have the option to see both your panels at the same time. You actually have to switch between them like this. So, but at the same time it gives you more accuracy in terms of drawing. So moving between portrait and landscape can be useful, for instance, if you want to write and have more screen real estate for writing, and then you want to go back in order to more accurately work with 2 pages like this. So that's important to be aware of, the difference between portrait and landscape mode. So let's take a quick look at all these tools over here on the left side. This top one is the basic one, that's your pencil. That's basically going to be used for handwriting and basic drawing. And the app just crashed, which is actually does every now and then, but that's not going to affect us. So let me bring up the pencil again. So as I was saying, that's going to be what you'll be using for drawing and handwriting, doing notes and scribbles. If you take a look here at the top, you have a small dot and the number 4 and a large dot. The small dot will make the pen thickness smaller, and the large dot will make it larger, and clicking the number in the middle will bring up this sort of easier way to move between large numbers. And then finally you have this little square, which can be hard to see with the default black color, but basically this allows you to switch between different colors. The custom one will give you the full range of colors, while this one will give while the simple drop down will give you the most used colors. So if you're an artist and plan on using this for more advanced drawings, then this is going to have to use the custom colors. That's your pencil. As you can see, if I just move it over the page right here, it stops on the edge, so you sort of have to continue it. Whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, it depends on how you're going to use the app. Then this next one is the eraser. That's going to erase what you've been doing. Works basically the same as the pencil. You have the same option of changing your the size of the eraser. So yeah, next one up is the I forgot what it's called, the highlighter. So if you do a lot of handwritten notes, well, why didn't that change colors? There we go. and you basically want to highlight something, this is going to do that for you. You have this, you can change colors and also the size, and basically it allows you to highlight parts of the text. Next one up is the text input tool. That's basically your text editor. Then you bring up the keyboard and you actually get machine text. Then you have the choice of fonts up here, Helvetica being the default one. Unfortunately no bindings. You have these dots have now turned into letters, but they do the same thing, increase and decrease font size. You also have the quick select drop down in the middle. You have text color, bold, italic and underline. You have text alignment. You can align it left or right. In theory at least. Yeah, who knows. And then you have tab, or whatever that's supposed to be. And then you have these bullet lists, allowing you to create grocery lists and all sorts of things. That's basically your basic text input tools right there. So that's your four sort of main tools for inputting something yourself. And then you start getting into the more advanced object insertion tools, which are the three bottom ones right here. The first one is simply a sticky note. You tap and it creates sticky notes. I think you're supposed to double tap, that's at least what I've been doing, to enter text edit mode. So you sort of get these text boxes that are independent of anything else. You can also resize them, so that will automatically resize the text as well. So you can basically have more control over where your text is going. Yeah. As for tools, you have colors, text color. This is the sticky note color. This is the text color. Font type, font size. So that's it for those. Let's just flip the new page. The next one is basically the media insertion tool. This allows you to record audio, take video or photo, or choose existing. I'm afraid to touch any of the two first one because I know that starting the camera will stop the screen recording which I'm using to make this video. And I think the same thing might happen with audio, but basically those are self-explanatory. If you press them, this little window pops up. For audio, the window pops up, and then you have a basically a record button up here that it's around at first. You click it, it starts recording audio, and then you stop it and click save down here, and then it inserts sort of an audio box. And if you then double click that, it will flip around. You can give it a title, and you have this sort of standalone box with your audio recording. I'm really sorry that I can't actually press it, but there's just some issues with the screen recording app now using the microphone and the video decoding capabilities to make this video, which means that I can't actually show you. But those are luckily pretty self-explanatory. Same with take photo video, that brings up the standard camera app, or it looks like the camera app. And when you insert either photos or videos, you will either get just an image or something like let me try to insert this video. Let's take a look at the scissor tool. The scissor tool is basically a way for you to take part or sort of just cut a piece of the screen and add that as a clip art in the left side here. And so you can just take that in and move it around. And this is sort of almost the most important tool in all of Taposé. I'm just going to delete this one right now, because this is basically what allows you to use the split screen mode in a lot of interesting ways. Like right now we have a web page here, so I can use this scissor tool to just cut out part of the web page. It will end up as a thumbnail down here. I'm just going to delete this one. And I can drag it over to my journal. So I haven't shown you the web browser yet, so I'm sort of going back and forth there right now, but you will see me using more of this scissor tool later on. If I drag up right here, I get access to Taposé's 5 apps, if you can call them that. You have the calculator, contacts, maps, web, and journals. Each of these 5 apps can run in whatever panel you want, and you can either click it to open it in the left or right panel, or you can just take it and drag it over there. And that will open the app in the panel and allow you to use the other panel for something else. You could have a calculator in a web browser if you wanted to, but for most things I think you will be using a journal page as at least one of them. So you can do some math there and use this right here for notes. The scissor tool works there as well, so if you want, I don't know, proof that math is still working and they're still using base 10 math, then you can do like this. And just since I'm now into doing clip arts, you have a few controls when it comes to these clip arts. You have the zoom button. You can double tap it to flip it around like you can with photos and videos. In audio recordings you can enter comment and a title, and you can also select it and delete it. So that's the calculator. I'm going sort of in the order from the most simple to the most useful, or not necessarily useful, but the most complex right now. Over to contacts. Let me just drag that over there. Going to find just an old number that doesn't work anymore, so it doesn't matter if it ends up on the internet. I'm just grabbing the contact from my contact list and putting it here in my journal, and now it asks me if I want to add the contact or if I want to share the notebook with that contact. I want to add it, so that creates this sort of business card here, right, and that I can move around. You don't have the ability to double tap this one because, well, it already says what it is on the front. So that's very useful if you're doing a project and you want easy access to the people you need to be in contact with. So yeah, just going to delete that one as well. That's the contacts. Next one we have maps. I don't know why I keep resizing this. I'm going to use it more. Oh, that's not right. So yeah, that's maps. That's where I live. You can come and stalk me or whatever. You have some settings. You can change map type, and of course you have you can search for the Eiffel Tower and it will find that for you. This is basically normal Google Maps. Then again, it's the scissor tools that makes it so you can just take part of what you're doing on one side and drag it over to the other. And again, you can add titles and commentary or comments. And the app crashed. That happens. So yeah, the map disappeared after the crash, but I think you got what it does. And then journals. That's basically just that you can open another journal in another tab, or you can open the same journal so that you can either work with pages that are on different parts of the same journal or different journals altogether. So if you have something in an old journal and you want it over in a new journal, you can just either use the scissor tool, or you can just if I have anything more interesting here, you can just take it and drag it right over. So that's very useful as well. And then I saved the best for, or the web for last anyways. That's the web browser, and that's very important because that's your portal to everything else. If you want to put stuff from an email in here, you're going to use the web browser. If you want documents in here, you're going to use the web browser. I have a tutorial on Nothing But Tablets showing you how you can actually scan paper documents into Taposé, and that goes via the web browser as well. The web browser is basically all about using your imagination. Anything you can bring up in a web browser, you can put into Taposé, and that's sort of the key to the entire thing. So you can just go ahead and just take a web clip and drag it over or whatever. And as for the tools or the buttons you have here, this right here, you can open in Safari or export to clipboard. You have an entire web page you have right here. That sort of acts like a bookmark. You also have something down here called copy image to clipboard, but this feature has turned out to be very buggy. It makes the app hang, sometimes it doesn't do anything at all, and sometimes it does it multiple times, so I would suggest ignoring this button altogether. Then you can have several tabs open, these little sort of two rectangles on top of one another, and then the forward and back buttons, which are grayed out right now because I didn't come from anywhere or haven't been anywhere. So yeah, that's the web browser. The web browser is going to be very important. It's just all about learning how to use it properly. So if I can just go back to, apparently it doesn't want to. Oh, there we are. So yeah, that has basically been a short introduction to